Long, long ago, when the world was still cold from the Ice Age, humans were not the only ones fighting to survive the frozen nights. Across the snowy plains, packs of wolves howled under the pale moon, their golden eyes glowing like tiny fires in the dark. They were hunters too, chasing the same prey that humans needed to live: deer, mammoths, and sometimes even smaller animals that hid beneath the snow. For many generations, humans and wolves were rivals, watching each other from a distance, both fierce and clever. But one day, something unexpected began to happen. A bond began to form between them. It didn't start with friendship, of course. At first, it was curiosity. Perhaps a hungry wolf followed the smell of meat to the edge of a human camp. The people noticed its glowing eyes but didn't chase it away. Maybe they threw a bone into the darkness, hoping the wolf would leave them alone. The wolf took the bone, growled softly, and disappeared into the night. The next evening, it came back. And soon, it wasn't just one wolf, it was a few, maybe the younger or weaker ones who couldn't compete with their packs. They learned that humans meant food, and humans learned that wolves could be useful. These early humans, clever and brave, started leaving scraps for the friendlier wolves. In return, the wolves began to warn them of danger, barking when something approached or growling at strangers in the night. The relationship grew slowly, built on trust and small acts of kindness. When the fire burned low and the wind held outside, humans and wolves stayed near each other for warmth. A hunter might wake to find a wolf curled near the fire, no longer an enemy, but something new, a companion. Over time, the friendliest wolves started living closer to human camps. They became less wild, more curious, and more comfortable around people. Generation by generation, these brave wolves changed. Their fur became softer, their faces gentler, and their instincts calmer. They no longer needed to chase their food, the humans shared it with them. In return, they guarded the camps, helped with hunting, and even played with the children. The humans began to notice which wolves were the most loyal and kind. Those were the ones they let stay close. Without even realizing it, humans had started to choose which wolves would become part of their families. This was the very first act of animal domestication, a huge step in human history. The wolves that were tamer had more puppies, and their puppies were even gentler. Soon, they were no longer wolves at all. They had become something new, something different: the first dogs. These early dogs were small, shaggy, and playful, with eyes full of curiosity and trust. They followed humans everywhere, from snowy mountains to green valleys. When tribes traveled, the dogs went with them, running beside the hunters and guarding the women and children. At night, their sharp hearing kept the camps safe from lurking danger. If a bear or stranger came near, the dogs barked until everyone woke. The humans rewarded them with scraps of food and gentle pats on the head. Over time, the bond deepened. The dogs began to understand human voices and gestures. They could tell when their humans were angry, sad, or happy. No other animal had ever connected with people like this before. It was the beginning of a friendship that would last for thousands of years. Dogs helped humans in ways no one expected. They hunted small animals that people couldn't catch easily. They could sniff out trails, find lost people, and even warn the tribe before storms came. Humans, in turn, treated them as part of the family. Sometimes, they shared a bed of furs, sleeping side by side through the cold. When a tribe member died, dogs were often buried with them, a sign of deep love and respect. Some ancient graves have been found with both human and dog skeletons lying together as if guarding each other forever. That shows just how strong this friendship was, even thousands of years ago. In every corner of the ancient world, dogs became symbols of loyalty and courage. In icy lands, they helped pull sleds across frozen fields. In deserts, they guarded water supplies and chased away predators. In forests, they hunted rabbits, birds, and boars with their human friends. No matter the place, the bond stayed the same: trust, teamwork, and love. Some dogs were small and quick, perfect for chasing animals into traps. Others were big and strong, ideal for guarding herds and homes. Humans started to notice these differences and began breeding dogs for special purposes. And so, slowly, the first breeds began to appear, not yet like the dogs we know today, but already showing their unique skills. Children loved playing with them, tossing sticks and laughing as the dogs ran to bring them back. In a world full of danger, that laughter must have sounded like sunshine. For the first time, people had true friends who didn't speak their language, but understood their hearts. Dogs learned to watch people's eyes to sense what they wanted even without words. That understanding became the foundation of one of the oldest friendships on Earth, and it all started when one hungry wolf, long ago, dared to walk close to a campfire instead of running away. From that single act of courage came the story of loyalty, love, and companionship that still continues today. Whenever you look into your dog's eyes, you're looking into history, into the same spark that lit the first fires of friendship between humans and animals. It's amazing to think that a creature once feared and wild became the most trusted friend humanity ever had. And as the Ice Age faded away and green lands returned, dogs and humans began to explore the changing world together, side by side. As the world warmed and the ice slowly melted, humans and dogs began a new chapter together. Forests grew where glaciers once stood. Animals returned, rivers flowed again, and tribes began to move farther and farther across the earth. Everywhere humans went, dogs trotted beside them. They were no longer wild companions, but loyal family members. When hunters left the camp at dawn, their dogs followed eagerly, noses twitching, tails wagging. The dogs could sense every scent on the wind, the tracks of deer, the musk of boar, even the faint smell of a rabbit hiding under leaves. Humans learned to trust their dogs' instincts. If the dog barked softly, the hunters knew prey was near. If it growled, danger was close. Together, they became a perfect team, man and dog, side by side. The world was changing, and so were they. Some people began settling near rivers to farm and build homes. Dogs stayed with them, guarding crops and animals from thieves or hungry wolves. At night, dogs slept near the fire, watching over sleeping children and keeping the darkness at bay. They were protectors, friends, and part of the community. In time, every village had dogs. Some were fierce guardians, others gentle playmates. But all were loved. When babies laughed, dogs wagged their tails. When elders told stories, dogs lay quietly by their feet, listening as if they understood. And maybe, in some way, they really did, after all. Dogs had lived beside humans for thousands of years now. They had learned our ways, our moods, even our hearts. They had become the first true bridge between people and the animal world. Archaeologists have found ancient paintings on cave walls showing dogs running with hunters. In those images, the dogs wore collars made of rope or hide, the first signs that humans wanted to claim them proudly as their own. That collar wasn't a chain, it was a sign of connection. It said, "You belong with us." Dogs didn't just help people hunt or guard, they also gave them comfort. When food was scarce or times were hard, a dog's loyalty never wavered. They didn't care if their humans were poor or hungry, they stayed. In return, humans shared their warmth, their food, and their love. This partnership became so deep that dogs appeared in myths and legends all over the world. In ancient Egypt, people told stories of Anubis, a god with the head of a jackal who guided souls to the afterlife. In Mesopotamia, dogs were sacred animals who protected temples from evil spirits. In China, some believed that dogs could chase away ghosts and bring good fortune. In the Americas, early tribes buried dogs beside brave hunters, believing they would guide them in the spirit world. No matter the culture, dogs were always symbols of protection, faithfulness, and love. The friendship between humans and dogs shaped both species. Humans became better hunters and safer travelers because of their loyal companions. Dogs, in turn, evolved new shapes, colors, and personalities to fit different human needs. Some grew small and fast, chasing pests from the fields. Others became massive and strong, pulling heavy loads or guarding livestock. Over time, their wild ancestors disappeared into history, replaced by hundreds of types of dogs, each with a special purpose. And yet, no matter how different they looked, all dogs shared one thing: a heart that loved humans. Their eyes followed us, their ears perked up at our voices, and their tails wagged when we smiled. Even in ancient towns, you could probably hear a bark echoing through the streets at sunset, the timeless sound of friendship. When people migrated across continents, dogs followed without hesitation. They crossed deserts, climbed mountains, and sailed across seas. Some even rode on canoes with early explorers, guarding supplies and warning of danger. In the frozen north, they pulled sleds through blizzards, guiding humans through endless snow. In tropical jungles, they hunted beside humans among vines and shadows. No matter where humans went, dogs went too. They adapted to every climate, every challenge, every human dream. In a world filled with danger, that kind of loyalty was priceless. Dogs didn't ask for anything in return, just food, warmth, and love, and humans gave it gladly. By the time civilizations began to rise in Egypt, Mesopotamia, and beyond, dogs were already everywhere. Egyptian nobles kept elegant hounds that ran like the wind. Farmers kept sturdy dogs to guard their fields. And poor families shared scraps of bread with their faithful mutts. Even the great pharaohs painted their favorite dogs on tomb walls, giving them names like Brave One or Trusty Heart. To them, dogs were not just animals. They were companions in both life and death. As centuries passed, dogs continued to evolve alongside us. They became symbols of home, loyalty, and warmth. In villages, their barking meant safety. In lonely mountains, their company meant hope. When people looked into their dogs' eyes, they saw something that words couldn't describe: the reflection of friendship older than time. And that's what makes the story of dogs so special. They were not forced to live with us. They chose to, and we chose them too. From one brave wolf that dared to approach a campfire, an entire world of companionship was born. Without dogs, human history would be colder, lonelier, and far less joyful. Even today, when you see your dog waiting by the door, wagging its tail, it's carrying a spark that began thousands of years ago. It's the same spark that burned in the first wolves' eyes when they saw the warmth of a human fire. That spark became love, it became trust, it became friendship that no distance or time could break. So, the next time you give your dog a treat or scratch behind its ears, remember this: you're continuing one of the oldest, most beautiful stories in all of human history. A story that began with hunger and fear, but ended with joy and loyalty. A story that reminds us that sometimes the greatest friendships come from the most unexpected beginnings. And that's how wolves became dogs, and how dogs became our best friends forever.